Today on Monkey Life, newly rescued chimp Kuls ventures into the outdoor enclosure for the first time and aims high.
Don't want her to get too overconfident, get spooked, and have an accident off of the climbing frame.
Vets John and Thazar combine to try to solve the long-running mystery of the lump on the face of Bruce the loris.
Thazar, have a look at this. So that swelling is actually all around his urea canal.
And wild strawberries for a Marmoset family, as the kids take the cream of the crop. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
You just never know how it's gonna work.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been 2 months since Kuls arrived from South Africa to begin her new life in Brian's small group. She's thought to be around 37 years old, but has taken meeting the younger generation in her stride.
She's just fantastic, actually. She's really quite confident and, as I would describe her, self-contained. Nothing really seems to faze her. She's sort of happy on her own. She's also seemingly happy if others are around. So really happy that she's doing so well here at the park, but also a little bit cautious about where we are with her health care.
Kuls arrived with medical issues. A health check revealed serious diabetes, and the team have started treating her with oral medication. But this hasn't delayed Kuls' introduction to the rest of the group. She's already met 4 of the 5 face-to-face. However, she's yet to meet Rodders, who has a reputation for acting like a spoiled teenager when confronted with newcomers. Kuls is getting on particularly well with leader Brian, as well as kind and caring Nari.
Quietly confident. She's well on her way to being part of the group and doing really well. It's just finding the right balance of how far we push her.
Today, the team have decided to go a step further and let Kuls into the big outdoor enclosure for the first time. Her 3 new friends are already outside, with Brian heading off to do his morning checks and displays. And Lulu and Nari chilling out, content to lap up the early morning sunshine. For the moment, Rodders and Ash are being kept indoors. Now it's just a question of waiting for Kuls to navigate her way through the bedrooms and tunnels to the outside. Brian goes back to offer some encouragement.
Where's Kuls? Where's Kuls?
Kuls finally makes it to the entrance, and everyone is there to greet her. Pleased their new friend is considering joining them. There's a brief moment of uncertainty before the temptation proves too much. Kuls steps outside and begins exploring her new home. At first, she stays at ground level, checking out the fences and boundaries and coming to terms with her new neighbours. In South Africa, she was used to seeing dogs and goats. Here, she's surrounded by other noisy chimps and fluffy orange orangutans. It's probably her first encounter with them. But she appears to take everything in her stride, even enjoying a group treat of sugar-free ice lollies. And remains unperturbed as Brian and Lulu enjoy a fun play session, while Nari peruses the latest wildlife magazine, just delivered. The atmosphere is calm and relaxed, but Alison and the team do have one concern: the climbing frame. Kalu is older than many of the other chimps at the park and lacks muscle condition compared to the others who regularly use the apparatus.
Our enclosures are big, and our climbing frames are very big and very tall, especially in Brian's group. And, you know, Kalu, as an older lady now, and not only an older lady, but a chimp that's been kept in an enclosure with virtually no climbing frame at all. But we're gonna have to watch that. Don't want her to get too overconfident, get spooked, and have an accident off of the climbing frame, because accidents can happen to anybody.
When she does start climbing, she takes it slowly. One careful step at a time. She doesn't have the strength and stamina of her housemates and isn't as confident. But she's determined to reach the top. And she does, calmly surveying her new home. It's a special moment. Kalu has been welcomed by the group, embraced her new home, and is on top of the world. There are big plans afoot for the park's woolly monkeys. Over the years, Monkey World has successfully bred 25 offspring. But the 3 resident groups have needed some careful management to achieve this. Now the park has become a victim of its own success. The family groups are under pressure with too many members, especially males.
We have a load of boys, and as the boys grow up, they will live in multi-male groups, but of course, you know, in a captive situation, they're in each other's face more than they would be in the wild. So we need to reduce the stress in our houses, and we can rehome 3 of the boys. So we're trying to target which 3 boys are not the best family men, perhaps cannot remain in their groups because they're with their mothers and other closely related individuals, or who simply aren't really stepping up to the plate in terms of being that dominant male in the group.
Working with the last remaining wildlife parks that care for woolly monkeys, Alison has come up with a plan to ease the problem. Part 1 was bringing the only other breeding female in captivity to the park. Pitua arrived a few weeks ago from the Netherlands and will soon join one of Monkey World's 3 family groups. But first, some of the boys need to be moved. Paolo, Manny and Carlos are to become part of a temporary bachelor group. Eventually, the plan is for the trio to move to Appenhoel Primate Park in the Netherlands and join 3 other males already there.
So Paolo will be first. These 2 boys are in the same house and are going to be a little bit more of a struggle.
But putting boys together in one group, without females, comes with its own problems. So the team have decided to intervene.
This morning, the #1 priority is to get some hormonal implants into our 3 male woolly monkeys. Just a tiny little under-the-skin implant that will sort of take the testosterone motivation out of them a little bit.
Wildlife vet John Lewis is going to give the implant to all 3 males. It should minimise stress and reduce any competition or aggression between them. First on his list is 12-year-old Paolo, who heads up the Pond Woolly group. Thanks to regular training, the Woolly Monkey team have managed to crate him without any stress and given him an anaesthetic by hand injection. It should be a quick and straightforward procedure, so John is going to perform it in the playrooms. It means he can keep the anaesthetic level to a minimum, and all 3 can quickly return to their group once they've come round. Paolo is weighed, so the team have an accurate and up-to-date record. Next, John moves on to the implant.
Tough skin.
It's a small capsule which sits just under the skin and releases medication to reduce the amount of testosterone the monkey's body produces. It won't affect them long-term, other than to reduce the male drive.
Okay, let's put a little tiny stitch in there.
It's quick and simple. Finally, John takes bloods for the record before Paolo is moved to the bedrooms to recover.
He's had an implant which will reduce his production of testosterone. In other words, he's a male, it'll calm him down. We've taken a blood sample and enough to store as well as to use today for diagnostics. He's had his weight determined. And he's fine, he's up, climbed up to the top of his cage. You know, he's going to be a bit hungover for a bit, but that's all right.
Happy Paolo is recovering and the team are monitoring him, John moves on to the next two on his list. 8-year-old Manny and 4-year-old Carlos, and the whole procedure is successfully repeated.
It's always a relief to have got them up again after an anaesthetic. But I mean, this morning was relatively straightforward. No need to put them into deeper or longer anaesthesia just to finish off a job, which was easily finished, so no problem.
It'll be a few weeks before the implant takes effect. Alison and the team will monitor all 3 boys closely before deciding when the time is right to put them together as one small bachelor group. It's a busy day for wildlife vet John Lewis and the vet team. Earlier, they carried out successful procedures on 3 male woolly monkeys. And now, following a break, they're going to examine 2 of the park's Bengal Slow lorises, Bruce and his partner Boo. Bruce's condition has been an ongoing saga for the past 2.5 years.
The lump that he's had for a while is still there and it's actually getting bigger. It doesn't seem to affect him in any way. He's still eating really well, he's still very active, he's still very interested in his partner Boo. They still hang out around a lot together, and the fact that it's continuing to grow is concerning, so we just want to try and have him down again and see if we can get some more answers.
The team are also concerned about Boo. She's been a lot quieter in recent days and off her food. Karen is hoping it's a sign she may be pregnant.
We have seen lots of mating between the 2, so we just want to rule that out or confirm it one way or the other. It'd be really nice if she is, so we'll just have a look at that as well.
Bruce is up first. Local vet Thesar Sastre is here to assist John and is brought up to speed on the loris's history.
But this was the histopath, so there's no evidence there of a tumour. And they say we'll go for a big biopsy.
With Bruce safely under anaesthetic, the team can get to work. It's the 4th time John has taken a look at the lump.
Okay.
Unfortunately, its size and position means surgery is not currently a viable option.
There are an awful lot of blood vessels, seriously important blood vessels, the jugular, the carotid. It's not an area that you are gung-ho surgically about. We're very cautious.
The lump has grown significantly since John's last visit and is still a mystery. The vets take blood samples and fluid from the area to be sent for analysis. Then they take a series of X-rays.
Thesar, have a look at this. So that swelling is actually all around his urea canal.
In fact, this could be a paraoral abscess.
There aren't many options open.
It's either removal or a significant chunk of it for testing, then you know.
With surgery ruled out for now, they opt to take a large biopsy and send it to a specialist pathologist.
The identification of the tissue type will tell us what future medical treatments are available and would be realistic. But we need the results of that test now.
Hopefully, this will shed some light on Bruce's condition. While he recovers, his mate Boo is brought in and quickly put under. The team give her a quick health check, but Karen is more concerned about whether the loris is expecting. An X-ray should provide the answer.
There's absolutely no evidence of her being pregnant, but there is evidence, by feeling, that she has significant fat deposits on either side of the abdomen, which may be fooling the keepers into believing that she's have abdominal swelling. It could be very early pregnancy, but they're looking for a late pregnancy and it isn't. So that's clear.
It's inconclusive all round, but the result of Bruce's test should provide an answer to his problem. As for Boo, the team will need to keep a close eye on her in the coming weeks. The park has an abundance of wild fruits and flowers, which help the care team vary the primates' diet and replicate some of the seasonal availability of their natural habitats. Today, a proliferation of wild strawberry plants, still laden with ripe fruit, have been placed in the enclosure housing the park's largest group of marmosets, Ruby's family of 6.
We've got Mum Ruby and Dad Oscar, and then they have 2 sets of twins. They've got Merry and Pippin, the older pair, and they've got Frodo and Rosie, the younger pair. They're definitely our most high-energy group, and they're a really lovely family, a very sort of natural family.
But the parents couldn't be more different. Mum Ruby is one of the biggest marmosets ever to live at the park, while Dad Oscar is one of the smallest. The pair get on well and share the responsibilities of managing their tight-knit family. The succulent fresh strawberries should be a great enrichment for all 6 monkeys. Mum Ruby is first to check things out, alerting her 2 sets of twins to the colourful fruit. And they waste no time heading over to investigate. The tiny, bright red fruits are something new for the youngsters, and the excited foursome soon gets stuck in. It's a real treat. Fruit usually forms less than 15% of their diet and is an important source of nutrients. Unlike the majority of marmosets who arrive at the park having been rescued from the pet trade, often from tragic circumstances, these 4 youngsters have had a stable upbringing.
They are learning how to marmoset, basically. They're learning the social skills, they're learning how to interact, what's acceptable, what's not, and they're becoming sort of proper marmosets, which is something we struggle with some of our individuals not being proper marmosets. They don't quite understand what they're doing a lot of the time. And the reason for that is that their babies are often taken away so young, like a couple of weeks old, in the pet trade, so that they can be hand-reared to make them, you know, more friendly for people to then get them as pets, that they are completely deprived one of the most natural things in the world, which is a mother raising its child. And the pet trade guys don't get that. They get ripped away from mum. Mum loses them, has no idea where her babies have gone to, and the babies lead these unnatural, hand-reared lives to then be filtered into the pet trade.
Not so for these 4 youngsters, who've had the benefit of both parents on hand. And when they've had their fill of strawberries, it's Dad Oscar who's waiting in the tunnel for a family grooming session. Malagasy is home to the park's 11 ring-tailed lemurs. It's a magnificent tree-filled enclosure where the group can climb and forage for edible leaves and buds. However, Malagasy lacks fruiting trees, but that's about to change, if only for today. For safety, a cherry tree in the park has been felled. It's laden with ripe fruit, which the lemurs love. The team have brought some of the fruit-filled boughs over to Malagasy and are busy securing the branches high up in the enclosure's tree canopy. It promises to be a delicious change for the lemur group.
They live in a very large forested enclosure here, and they are given every opportunity to explore their environment. But what the primate care staff do to encourage them to use the trees and to therefore use their core strength and use their skills in being arboreal animals, they actually feed them on raised pulley feeders that we can pull up into the trees, and we can actually get the lemurs to go into fairly inaccessible places. Oh, hello. And it means that they can use all of their core strength and balance right at the end of those bendy branches and get their food, so that they're having a much more natural way of foraging rather than just feeding them on the ground or feeding them in an easily accessible place.
The lemurs are watching closely and are intrigued. But once they're all outside, they take their time to assess the change. Friedrich is first to take a leap of faith, with his twin brother Kurt close behind. Himal prefers to abseil down to get to the cherries. Encouraged, the rest of the troop join in. Ring-tailed lemurs are more terrestrial than most other lemur species. They spend a lot of their time on the ground, especially when travelling to find a food source. It's wonderful to see the group in the tree canopy, demonstrating their natural agility on the bendy branches. Unlike some primates, lemurs can't hang from their tails. They use them purely for counterbalance in locomotion and for communication. A bit like hoisting a flag. But when it comes to moving and climbing, they have one big advantage: very powerful legs.
Yeah, they're like springs. So the very muscly top part of their leg there is actually incredibly muscly. They're only a small lemur, and so those legs are actually a huge part of their body. And so when they really need to use them and spring and leap very large gaps of sort of 6 meters or so, that you see those legs working like a sort of spring and catapulting them from one to another.
There are 11 members of the troop, 9 males and 2 females. And in lemur society, it's the females who rule the roost. Fennel has been in charge of this group for quite some years. But the only other female, Kaya, rescued from the pet trade 10 years ago, has yet to fully grasp lemur politics.
Fennel is the dominant female in this group, but nobody's told Kaya that. So Kaya also thinks she's the dominant female, and because of Kaya's history, she's very people-focused and she's very, very confident, and so she can cause real problems for the rest of the group because she has no fear.
But today, with the cherries all finished, and the troop also making short work of the leaves, they're a pretty harmonious group. Satiated and relaxed, the lemurs gather for a bit of social bonding. A midday huddle in the warm sunshine. Next time on Monkey Life, Alison successfully uses tasty treat tactics.
Look at this. Look, it's a whole box full.
While on a double mission to rehome 2 pet trade marmosets.
Monkey World 1, Reggie no.
And young chimp Toprish shakes things up at Bart's group.